AMD versus Nvidia. We've all heard about this in some point of our lives, but when it comes to gaming and GPUs, what should you go for? And which is the best for your gaming needs? This video is all about it and will help you make up your mind. So without further ado, let's get into this. Both companies, AMD and Nvidia, are famous for their graphics cards. In fact, they seem like the only companies on the market. Both have gained a lot of reputation over the years and keep on improving every day. But over the years, games have also evolved, and so has the graphics and presentation, and so the need for more details and accuracy has increased by quite a lot. While games like Grand Theft Auto, FIFA, and Tomb Raider still handle well on low settings, newer titles like Assassin's Creed Origins demand way higher graphics that need some serious attention. To this, both companies have given equal and compromising solutions. While AMD or the Red Team strives with their range of RX series GPUs, Nvidia, aka the Green Team, makes their attempts with their GTX series of GPUs. And the response has been good on both sides, but money just doesn't fall from the sky. So you really need to choose wisely. While AMD aims to help budget consumers and tries to keep prices as low as possible, they still have cards that can cost a lot of money, but they don't compromise on performance. AMD GPUs perform great, and some games also prefer AMD GPUs over Nvidia. AMD also has one more advantage over Nvidia, and that is its software. While Nvidia has great GPUs and higher core clock speeds and slightly better performance, maybe, well, in the eyes of the public, they are a bit pricey and don't have great software like AMD to back it up. While you may have heard about AMD's Relive software and Nvidia's Shadowplay, both of which are intended to record your gameplay, people still use AMD's Relive. And it's right to say that Nvidia Shadowplay is just not up to the mark, and by now it has died a lot, so you can consider it off the chart. Talking about graphics cards and their prices, starting off with AMD. AMD is the company which gives you the bottom dollar for each graphics card and makes sure that you have a good experience with that and you do not feel cheated or anything like that. Same goes with Nvidia, but the only problem with Nvidia is that they are a bit more expensive than AMD. And while both AMD and Nvidia consider customers' needs and make good quality top grade consumers cards, it is right to say that AMD is a more fan favorite for most of the people. As far as gaming is concerned, you can definitely go for either of that, but if you want to do slightly bit of video editing or stuff like that on Premiere Pro or even any other stuff, you definitely need to get a good graphics card. And for that, my recommendation would be to get a good budget first, because without a good budget, you can't get a good video editing software and your graphics card will lag. So even while you're editing your video, even if you feel that things are going alright, while you render, you're gonna face serious problems. So you really need to have a good budget and a good graphics card. For that, I would suggest of a budget of a bit more than $300 to get something like a 1060, 6GB, or an RX 480. In today's case, an RX 580, because the 480 was replaced. But on the current market situation, things look like AMD and Nvidia are getting better and want to refresh their lineup with a new series of graphics cards. And for gamers, that is good news, because both AMD and Nvidia are looking forward to refresh their lineup with a new series of graphics cards, which they will announce pretty soon. So if you're in the market for a new graphics card, make sure you wait a bit more till the end of this year. Hopefully, you'll get a good deal. While there might be graphics cards that cost the same money, they may have different specifications. For example, the Nvidia GTX 1060 6GB and the RX 580 8GB are almost have the similar price. Well, almost. As stated on Newegg, the RX 580 8GB costs $250, while the Nvidia GeForce GTX 1060 6GB costs $280. So that's about a $30 price difference there. So more people might think that the RX 580 has 8GB of VRAM, while the GTX 1060 has 6GB, so they might go for the RX 580. But there is one thing that you should consider, and that is the sheer performance of the GTX series from Nvidia. And that has no doubt. But when it comes to power, the RX 580, being the 8GB version, consumes a lot more power than your average GTX 1060 6GB version. And that is 185 watts, while the GTX 1060 consumes 120 watts merely. But when it comes to performance, both have a good performance, but on the charts, as seen, the scores are a bit different. The score for the RX 580 has a score of 61.2, while the GeForce GTX 1060 6GB gets a score of 56.4. So, for less money, you could save $30 and still get better performance out of a similar range priced graphics cards. So you see, you don't have to spend much all the time. So really, I'm saying this again, spend wisely. While higher end graphics cards like Titan XPs and 1080 Ti's are top of the line, they consume a lot of power as well. So if you have a system that is really good and really efficient overall, you can hook up a Titan XP or a 1080 Ti, and trust me, you will not need anything else further. While the RX Vega 64 series is also good, it consumes way more power than a Titan XP or a 1080 Ti. While the 1080 Ti's and Titan XPs go for 250 watts, the RX Vega series goes up to almost 300, reaching 295 watts of power. Of course, everyone has a budget lined up when configuring a PC. Unless your personal thrill is literally setting fire to everything in your bank account, you're going to aim for the best value to ratio performance. A common misconception is that AMD makes graphics hardware while Nvidia makes the pricier luxury GPUs. Shop around. However, you'll notice that not necessarily every time that is the case. While an Nvidia GeForce 980 Ti might cost upwards of about $600, AMD's closest equivalent, the R9 Fury X, is around the same price, sometimes even a bit more expensive. In terms of horsepower, however, Nvidia is almost consistently on top. AMD's highest offering, the Fury X, for example, boasts an efficient memory speed that's 7 times slower than that of Nvidia's presently fastest Titan X, according to some. On the other hand, Nvidia offers VSync, which is more popularly used over AMD's FreeSync. And while driver updates are a crucial factor in the after-sale services provided, AMD once again hits the mark. Though Nvidia also provides updates regularly, some people have accused it of only providing good updates for expensive GPUs and not for the lower-end ones. But in my eyes, all customers should be treated equally. But that being said, Nvidia does provide stunning graphics, and true to say, it is worth buying its GPUs, even if it costs a lot of money. Also, more game support and run well on Nvidia GPUs than AMD GPUs, since Nvidia has more support through the consumer market and has made its name a bit more than AMD, to say the least. But AMD does not only concentrate on GPUs but CPUs or processors as well. This in turn helps to create greater opportunity for their GPUs in the market, since pairing both of their GPUs and CPUs together gives a greater boost in performance. Well, at least that's what they say. But Nvidia also makes up for this by providing support in consoles like the Xbox and PS4, hence capping more market share. But one thing is for sure, and that is the prices of both products of these companies are a bit too much for the average gamer, who just wants to enjoy a soothing gaming experience on a slim budget. And with the price of cryptocurrency on constant rise and fall, it is quite difficult for them to accomplish their aspirations. This in turn forces many PC gamers to even think of switching to other platforms such as consoles. And with consoles getting more and more powerful these days, it is fair to say that the number of PC gamers might just descend. Both AMD and Nvidia have a great line of products, so you have to choose accordingly. It's fair to say that both companies have a massive influence over the market, but when it comes to gaming and for GPUs, it's particularly a tough one. If you're one of those people who are shopping for GPUs on a tight budget, go for AMD. But if you can raise the bar a bit higher, definitely go for Nvidia. Overall, both AMD and Nvidia provide great products and have great performance. And at the end of the day, you'll hopefully be happy on both sides, whichever you choose. Hopefully you've made up your mind by now. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to the channel. Leave us your thoughts in the comments below.